it gets done is alarming. I don't know why you're so much interested in fighting the forest cover, but please, there are repercussions if you do that. So please, all if you are nearby a national forest cover around you, always maintain that. We have had a number of struggles in communities where I even come from. You find people are intentionally fighting, making sure that they get some land each time and then, which is very, very crucial. But of course, we appreciate the efforts that are always put there, the interventions that are made to make sure that these people are held accountable. Today, we are going to be looking at the status and protection of the forest reserves in the country here in Uganda, to be specific. And of course, you and I have a very big responsibility to take on to make sure that these forests are protected, because it is you and I that actually do the deforestation majorly. It is not something that comes from heaven, or a foreigner will come and then take away your forest. No, it is you and I, we the citizens of the nation. Here with me is the public relations officer from the National Forestry Authority, and that is Miss Juliet, who's going to be taking us through this interesting discussion. You're most welcome to Church of Uganda Family TV.
Thank you, Luke. I'm humbled to be here this morning, and I really appreciate the opportunity by Family TV and Church of Uganda to invite us as National Forestry Authority to also air out our voice on the status of forests in Uganda.
Wow, that's interesting. Now, to begin with, can you tell our viewer out there the mandate of NFA?
Yeah, the mandate of National Forestry Authority is derived from the National Forestry and Tree Planting Act that was enacted in 2003, and the National Forestry and Tree Planting Regulations of 2016. Our core mandate is to manage and develop all central forest reserves in Uganda. There are a total of 506 scattered all over the country, and for example here in Kampala we have 2 forest reserves. I don't know if you knew them. Yes.
Wow.
We have where we sit in Bugolobi, it's called Nakawa Central Forest Reserve, and we have another one Banda near Chambogo, where we have our nursery. It's called Banda Central Forest Reserve. Those are the ones in Kampala, but most of them are outside Kampala. We have 506 in total, with the land coverage of about 1.26 million hectares of land that we are managing. But not all this is forested. During the time of gazettement, most of these forests were gazetted between 1932 and 1968. But they were recently regazetted by the Parliament of Uganda in 1998. That was the last gazettement. And some of them were gazetted as land for forestry purposes, but there are no existing trees, or it's not a forest. And that's where most people have misinterpreted that where there is no forest, it can't be a forest reserve. That's why we have that name, reserve Central Forest Reserves. Others are forests, others are only land reserved for forestry purposes. Yes, so that's our core mandate as National Forestry Authority. But I wanted to bring other players in the sector. We are not the only ones managing the forestry sector in Uganda. We also have the Act categorizes forests in Uganda into 3 categories. There are those forests that are in protected areas of wildlife. Those are national parks, like you hear Mugahinga, you hear Wind Impenetrable Forest, you hear Chibale Forest. So those are forests that are managed by Uganda Wildlife Authority, but they are also forests in Uganda. Then we also have community forests that lie on community lands. Maybe it's a Church of Uganda has a forested area, they are forests, but they lie on community land. But we also have private forests that could be on your land or my land. All those contribute to the forest cover in this country. But there are 2 categories, the community land and the private land where they are forests. We are almost losing all of them.
Almost losing.
Yes.
Now that is where I want to ask, do we have any updated information about our forest cover currently in Uganda?
Yes, we do have, as National Forestry Authority, we have, one of the things we do is monitoring forest cover in Uganda. We do monitor loss and growth, and also land cover and land use in Uganda, how much land is under agriculture, how much land is under water, how much land is under forestry. We do all that. So we normally do this every after 2 years. This is because our trees, sometimes they take long to grow and be seen. So you cannot monitor something that you're not able to see.
Sure.
So we give it a period. We used to give it a period of 5 years before, but from 2015, we improved on the technology, and now we are monitoring every after 2 years. So the latest statistics that we have are of 2023. We are working on 2024. By end of this year, we shall have the 2025.
Okay.
So last year, 2023, the statistics show us that we have reduced. No, we have actually increased from 2019. We were at 9% of the forest cover of all the total land in Uganda. So by 2023, we have improved to 12.7%.
Oh,
yes,
that's good news.
Of the forest cover vis-a-vis the total land cover in Uganda. It's good news, but there is also bad news. The rate at which people are harassing forests is very alarming.
That's true. Now, when we talk of people harassing forests, that is deforestation and forest degradation and all that. What are the main causes? Why are people so much interested in taking away land that belongs to forests?
Forests, yes. I think the major cause is greed. Because as a country, I don't think we have run out of the land for other activities. In any case, most of the people are doing subsistence farming. If it is commercial farming, you would think maybe, but many people are doing subsistence farming. But it's greed that is contributing to the degradation, because instead of somebody going out to work, they enter the forest to cut a tree. That is the major and the major problem that we have. But there are also other issues like population growth. Ugandans, we are, I think, very fertile and blessed, and we are growing very fast. And as the population grows, the need for forest products also increase. People want to expand their agricultural land. People want to settle. People want to eat. Actually, every time you eat food on your table, you just know a tree has been felled somewhere. That is if you're using charcoal or firewood to cook. And yet statistics show us that at least 98% of Ugandans depend on fuel wood energy for cooking. So I think most of us, if we are three, all of us might have eaten food last night that is cooked by firewood or charcoal. So by the fact that we had food on our table, that means trees are being felled. That is another driver. The population has increased and there is increased demand for forest products. Then another driver is sometimes poverty. Poverty can push people. Poverty can push people to enter into forests, and they degrade our forests. Then another driver is recently we are seeing a lot of illegal titling of forest reserves. Central forest reserves or all other protected areas, including national parks and the lakes and others, all natural resources do not have land titles. They are only protected by statutory instruments that gazetted them. So you find people in local governments and the Ministry of Lands issuing titles on central forest reserves. And then as NFA, as we go into legal battles to push for cancellation of these land titles, the illegalities are happening in the forests. So if you go into court and it takes 2, 3, 5 years, by the time you conclude the court case, the forest is completely wiped out. We have seen a lot of that in the lakeshore forests, Kayunga, Mubende. There are many in this area. So we've had challenges of that we are facing. And then the other thing is, the other driver is people want to use forest products, but they are not interested in replanting. We normally encourage sustainable use. If you cut, you plant. If you cut, plant. But many Ugandans are interested in using without replanting. Or even when they plant, they just plant, they do not grow. And yet trees are also like any other crop that needs tendering to grow.
Okay. Now, looking at these activities, majorly things like wood, we see if you to use Ginger Road, Mabira Forest. You see a number of vehicles. Yes, we are not sure that they be coming from the forest, but there are quite a number of vehicles you find carrying a lot of timber. Are there people legalized to cut down trees in such forests?
The law does allow us to license what we call harvesting. And when we are to do harvesting, it's also a professional activity in forestry.
Okay.
There are trees that really grow to the maximum. And they advised you cut them and then you allow other new ones to grow. Or if you cut, you can do what we call enrichment planting or restoration. Restoration is most times in areas where there have been degradation.
Okay.
But if it's a plant harvesting, then we also do enrichment planting. Or we are, and when we are doing that as NFA, we have what we call the inventory team that goes in the field, in the forest, and takes stock of the trees that are old enough to be cut. And they are cut. But for the last 10 or more so years, as National Forestry Authority, we have not licensed any tree cutting in a natural forest.
Okay.
So Mabira is a unique forest that has a very unique story. Within the landscapes of Mabira, there are 11 villages, legally, there with Milo land, legal land titles in Mabira Central Forest Reserve. But they are out of the gazetted area of Mabira. So as you enter Mabira, where you see a forest, that is an area under the management of NFA. Okay. Where you see a village and homesteads, those are private lands. But this one is also a risk to us as managers. As people go into their homesteads, that's how they access the forest.
Sure.
And Mabira is such a big forest that has that touches like 4 districts almost. It's the other side, it's almost bordering with Jinja. Then it has Boyikwe, it's in Kayunga, it's in Mukono. So there are different angles where people can access the forest. Sure. And they become a challenge. We've had challenge, I think in the last 1 month we have arrested like over 40 illegal loggers in Mabira alone. Wow. So it's we've always advocated if government could compensate and resettle these people outside the forest so that we are able to manage it as one block, it would be easier for us as managers.
Okay. Wow, that's interesting.
But also the vehicles you see could also be picking timber from the other categories of the forests. I have told you the private land and the community forests. Okay. So and they get their movement permits and licenses from the district local governments of origin. Okay. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. So what measures has NFA put in place to protect these forests?
We have put different measures to protect the forest. One of them, we used to have security challenges for our staff. We've had incidences where our staff have been hacked in the forest because we are not armed. So we've partnered with Uganda Police to give us environment police force. And we've also partnered with the UPDF as a sister agency. So they have given us security for our staff to operate in the field. And this helps secure our staff, but also secure the forest. So we are able to improve on patrols every day and be able to make arrests without fear, because at least we know our lives are protected. We have improved on partnerships with the private sector, NGOs. For example, we have a very good partnership with Church of Uganda. We have an MOU where we are working together to grow trees on the land that belongs to Church of Uganda and the church goers. And I think the most reverend the Archbishop has instructed that these messages should in every Sunday. Yeah, I remember attending the launch, he said for the clergies every Sunday preach about green Uganda. And we believe this, with such a partnership, our message reaches far and it is adopted. You know, for religions, at least people easily take the messages than when other people speak.
Okay.
So we are also doing restoration in our forest reserves where we find there is degradation. We do restoration planting in partnership with corporate companies or even our own. The government of Uganda gives us money to restore forests. We've also concentrated on boundary opening and marking with permanent pillars that are visible enough to tell everyone that where you have reached, please, you're stepping into a forest, which we did not have initially. Initially, forest reserves were gazetted. We knew their boundaries. I think the people were also well behaved at that time. They would know that this is where the forest starts. But some people today, they will tell you they have entered 3 miles in the forest, but they are not sure that they are in the forest. So we are opening boundaries to secure the integrity of the forest. Then we are also increasing the sensitization and awareness of the need to have these forests standing and also the need to grow more trees on our private land. When they said Uganda is the pearl of Africa, it's because of the nature, the natural resources that we had. East, west, south, north, we were green, which we do not have now. So we are telling the people that these issues you're having, the natural calamities, is because of the destruction of the environment. If people do not climb the mountains to disturb the ecosystem of the mountains, we would not be seeing these mudslides and floods. If people are not diverting rivers, streams, we would not be seeing these old floods. In Kampala alone, you saw we had the heat wave was so much. And when it rained the first day, we lost 10 people in the floods. So we are encouraging, we are preaching the gospel. Even if you have a plot of 100 by 50, plant there 1 tree. At most, plant something that is, is useful to you. You plant a fruit tree on your small plot so that it can protect your soils, so that it is firm. We are also working with the agencies like KCCA to ensure that there is green everywhere. We want to work with the local governments and ensure that there is green everywhere. Then we are also empowering our communities that are adjacent to forest reserves. We have a program called Collaborative Forestry Management. We create groups of people living around the forest. We empower them with income generating activities, and this helps them not to go to the forest, to depend on the forest for their livelihoods. So they have these activities done either in the forest or in their homes. There are those that we allow in the forest, like beekeeping. We can allow them in the forest, give them the startup capital, and when they're in the forest doing their projects, they know that is their source of income as well. So they help us. They will not look from Kampala to come and encroach on the forest or even enter the forest to do logging. So that one has helped us, and we are happy that we are also improving lives of the community members that are adjacent to the forest reserves. Then we have done partnerships with UNHCR, the United Nations High Commission for Refugees. The impact that is created by the refugees in this country on our natural resources is also visible. So we've partnered with them to reduce dependence on the natural forests that are adjacent to their settlements, to plant trees in their settlements. Because when these refugees come, they want to build houses, and they are using construction poles which are from the forest. They want firewood to cook their food. They need fruits for nutrition or survival. So we've partnered with the UNHCR to grow trees inside the settlements, but also restore the central forest reserves that are nearby that could have been affected by the presence of the refugees, and also support the other communities that are within the host communities where the settlements are, to grow trees and establish wood lots on their private lands, so that the dependency on the natural forest that we manage is reduced.
Okay.
We are also doing plantation establishment. As NFA, we also establish plantations. And we do this, these are exotic and fast-growing trees. We do this to reduce pressure on natural forests. You don't need to go to Mabira to cut a Musizi for construction. We are providing a eucalyptus or another species to enable you, because this one grows in 2-3 years you can have an electric pole. A construction pole.
Yes.
2-3-4 years you can have a construction pole. But if you went for an indigenous species, you'll cut a tree that has been there for 20-30 years.
Yeah.
So we are doing this at a very terrific speed. We're establishing plantations, but also encouraging, or we've invited the private sector, the investors, to invest in tree growing for commercial purposes. You might have seen along Mitiana Road or along Gulu Road in Katugo, you might have seen those big plantations. We are establishing some, but we are also working with the private sector to establish theirs. We believe this is reducing pressure on the natural forest that we have.
Okay, that's interesting. Actually, I wanted to ask if there are different types of trees supposed to be planted in different, maybe using different ideologies in the conservation efforts. What trees are supposed to be planted where, and also looking at people now, like the initiative in the church where you have to plant a tree in your place. What kind of trees are supposed to be planted?
Okay. The kind of trees really depend on the purpose that you have as an individual or an entity. But as NFA, we do what we call site species matching.
Okay.
Which tree grows where? That one, we have the data across the country, so we are able to advise that if you're going to plant for firewood, this is the specific tree species that you should plant in Kampala. This is the specific tree species, if you want firewood, that you should plant in Arua or any other. We have that information available, and we operate 33 regional nurseries across the country, tree nurseries across the country. We did this to be able to avail the planting materials to the people near their homes. Like if you're in Mbarara, you don't have to come to Masaka or Kampala to get the seedling. You get the seedlings from Mbarara. All these major towns have nurseries for NFA. And we also had another program called Community Tree Planting Program, where we are distributing trees free of charge. Whoever had needs, whoever had interest in tree planting would come, write a request letter to NFA, and they are given tree seedling. But we are encouraging for communities, like the partnership we have with Church of Uganda. We are encouraging strictly indigenous tree species to be planted, because we believe they can stay longer than the other species, the fast-growing species. But it's, like I said, it's a purpose-driven. It depends on your needs. Yeah, but we are available to give technical advice. Okay.
And looking at things that have caused so much forest loss, like you did mention charcoal, firewood, and all those things, because we have to eat on a daily. What efforts are there now to curb this? Because if you to look into, are there efforts to go electric, like if you are using other methods of cooking? Do you have those kind of methods? Because if we continue like this, at some point you could find we are running out of forests.
That's very true. Actually, before we had, in 2015, we were predicting by 2050 we would not have any trees standing in Uganda. But because of these efforts from 2017 and up to 2023, we are seeing at least an increase. So we are no longer alarming the country now. At least we see some efforts. But there are discussions that are going on within government to make to see that electricity is cheaper and affordable for some people where they are able to reach, and then also gas. These are the only substitutes for charcoal and firewood. And we are also encouraging people in the villages or rural areas to, I know it's a bit expensive, the biogas system, but I think it solves a bigger percentage of the problem, especially in the communities where they are cattle keepers, because cow dung is free. So if they opt for that option, but I think there we have not put much energies in sensitizing the people. But we believe if gas and electricity is affordable and available for the people, this could be an alternative for charcoal and firewood.
Wow. Thank you so much, Juliet. We are continuing with the discussion. We're going to take a very short break, and when we return, of course, we shall be seeing the roles you're supposed to be doing as a person. What is your role as a civilian out there to make sure that you protect the forests, and also with the efforts that are coming in from the authorities. We take a short break.
Issues at hand. Issues at hand.
Welcome back. You are watching Issues at Hand here on Chat of Uganda Family TV, and today we are talking about the status and protection of the forests here in Uganda. Yes, you and I have a role, I told you, and that's what we're going to be talking about. But before that, I wanted to ask Juliet here if there are penalties to people that are found maybe encroaching or illegally cutting down trees and all that. What are those penalties, so that someone out there can be sure of what can happen in case they mess around with these forests?
Okay. Thank you, Luke. Actually, even before we go to the penalties, we also have what we call prohibited activities in Central Forest Reserves that are clearly elaborated in the Act, that if you're found cutting trees illegally, if you're found grazing in the forest, if you're settled in the forest, if you're light fire in the forest, you're culpable. There are many offenses that are well detailed in the Act, but there are also penalties, but we feel they are not deterrent enough. We are actually encouraging if there could be a review of the law, that these penalties are revised. You find somebody has a lorry carrying trees that have been illegally cut from the forest that are worth like 20 million, and then if taken to court, the fine could be like 1 million, and then it does not balance.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't really balance. And but they are there, and there are people that have been imprisoned for 3 years that are found in a forest reserve doing illegal activities, and we go through the normal prosecution process of court. They are prosecuted and then they are convicted. But we found out that those that are fined money can easily pay and go back to the forest. But those that are convicted and sentenced to prison to serve for a certain period of time, at least there are no recurrent issues where they come back to disturb the forest.
Okay. And that now takes me to the effectiveness of the laws and guidelines around our forests. How are they effective? How are they implemented? Are they even enough?
Yes, our law is enough. Apart from that weakness of the penalties, our law is strong enough. It is really strong enough that it gives us the authority to execute the mandate and be able to apprehend the wrongdoers that we find in the forest reserves.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Now, how is the NFA involving the local person out there, local communities out there, in in this fight to protect forests? What measures are we using?
Yes, the measures we have adopted as the NFA is majorly partnerships. We know that if we work with Church of Uganda, we are able to reach every Christian that goes to church on a Sunday. We pass on this message. Then, if we partner with the other religious institutions, we are able to reach all those people that that go to the institutions for prayers. Then I believe they are also followers of this TV, and today I believe we are talking to someone who is also picking a message out of this. But we have other strategies. Like I said, we have what we call collaborative forestry management groups. That one targets those forest homesteads that are the homesteads or the community members that are adjacent to the forest reserves, where we sit down with them, we sign an MOA, memorandum of understanding, and we have the responsibilities and the roles that we play in the management of the forest. They also have their benefits. We also have what we benefit out of this MOU. For example, these people, we don't give them cash. I've had many people say, why don't you share benefits? We indirectly or directly share with them benefits. They have access to the forest to pick firewood for domestic use strictly. We regulate because they have access the forest like for 1 day a week. You pick all the firewood you need for a week, but you don't carry the firewood for sale. You don't go with a panga, you only pick fallen trees. So this is how we work with the communities. Then we also support them. We believe if their livelihoods are improved, they will not go back to the forest to depend on it for income sources. And then we also work with corporate companies to grow trees and also sensitize and create awareness inside the forest and outside the forest. Because we believe if we don't maintain the communities with their own source of forest products, they will somehow, or by all means, they will enter into the forest.
Yeah.
Because if it's hard to tell somebody that you're going to construct a house, but you cannot get timber. So we are educating them and also providing them with the resources. We are distributing free seedlings to all community members to establish their woodlots and also restore their areas. We are engaging farmers, saying, look, you don't need to have a farm that is 1 square mile and clear. Even the animals you have on the farm need shade.
True.
So plant scattered trees in your farm so that you can cater for these animals as well. If you're a coffee grower, there are those trees that can help you protect. They are windbreakers for your coffee. They are agroforestry species. We are going into those areas of educating the farmers that if you're planting coffee or banana plantation, you need trees in the banana plantation, or at most even you mark the boundary of your land with trees. So that also contributes to the forest cover when we are monitoring all the tree cover in the country. Those are the things we are doing. We are also encouraging Ugandans. We are trying to remind them that these forests do not belong to NFA. For us, we are managers, we are employed to protect the forests, but the forests belong to Ugandans. You know, forests or natural resources are one property or investment that we all of us own, but none of us takes responsibility. When it's the lake, I'll start thinking, who manages the lake? Is it Ministry of Water and Environment? Is it the local governments? Forestry? So, and yet the services they give us, the ecological services, we all benefit. Actually, the whole globe benefits from the forests we are managing. But as Ugandans, we are the first beneficiaries. So we educate them and tell them that these are your forests. Please take responsibility. We are encouraging people to report illegalities. As NFA, we might not be everywhere. Sometimes in some areas we are thin because of the staffing that we have. Can you imagine we are 360 managing 506 central forest reserves. And actually the 360, that is inclusive of the headquarters staff. So we encourage people to report, because if you're able to report that I've seen a truck carrying timber from Mavira, we are able to intercept at least. We might have not been at the base to stop the cutting, but we are able to intercept and arrest and prosecute the person. So we are taking that message to the people that they should start taking responsibility, report illegal crimes in the forest. And then we work together. We are also sensitizing the local governments, district local governments, on the importance of having forests in their areas. And it is also their responsibility by the Act to protect these areas. Actually, all the trucks you see on the road carrying timber, that is from the natural forest. Like I said, we have not licensed cutting of a natural forest in the last 10 years.
10 years. Wow.
So all these are cleared by the district local governments. Sometimes I don't want to seem like faulting them, but sometimes they clear without knowing the source of the timber. Okay. Somebody has entered the Bodongo, cut the trees, and loaded the truck, but claims that these are trees that I've cut from my private land. The person responsible in that office has not taken the responsibility of going to verify where these trees are being cut from, and that person is given a license and a movement permit to proceed and deliver the goods to Kampala or anywhere. Then that one affects us. So we are sensitizing the district local governments and empowering them with this knowledge that they need to do verification and do the right things, so that they help us and we also help them. We are all in the same sector doing the work. This is our responsibility. So we also pass a message to the politicians that at least let's minimize politicizing of natural resources issues.
Okay.
When catastrophes come, even the rich suffer the same way the poor suffer. These are issues. The issues are not for political parties. They are not for religious institutions. They are for all of us. I think this is one thing that unites all of us as Ugandans. So if you politicize it, then you are affecting other Ugandans, or you're affecting the implementation of the National Forestry Authority mandate. If we are coming to evict people in your constituency, but these people are sitting on a forest reserve, and we are evicting them to restore the forest reserve, please do not politicize it.
Yeah.
Don't make it a political issue. We've had challenges where people call all the big offices and everywhere for something that should be actually supported, because if we are evicting people in a forest reserve for restoration, it is for the benefit of the people in that community, not for us as workers. Okay. Although we are implementing our mandate. Then we are also doing sensitization on energy saving stoves. These ones at least reduce on the quantity of the fire of the wood that would be used in the process of cooking. So we are working with some NGOs that we take them to educate the communities around the forest reserves and build for them, and also educate them on how they can make briquettes to reduce pressure on the natural forest. They can make briquettes from the garbage and what. We have been able to educate some of the communities adjacent to the forest reserves, and we are seeing reduction in the illegalities in the forest reserves.
Okay. Well, have you met any challenges with the communities?
Yes, we have challenges with the communities, and one of them is, like I said before, and even now, by the way, even when we have those security agencies, they are not enough. They are not like everywhere. The numbers are still limited. We've had challenges where our staff have been hacked in the forest. We've lost a total of about 5 staff on duty, yes. And others have been completely disabled. This is a big challenge and a demotivation factor for other people. Yeah. Because if you hear your colleague has been hacked in Mavira and you are in the middle of Budongo, it also creates fear for your life. So it's a challenge. And then the other challenge we've had is encroachment on the forest reserve. Like I said, we are currently opening boundaries and marking them, but we are at least at 45%. So some forest reserve are about 200, they have not yet been opened and marked. So in those areas we still have encroachment. People come and clear the area for cultivation or grazing, and that one affects the forest. And then we also have these prolonged legal battles with the encroachers, and they are those that take really long. As we move on with the legal battles, the forest is being affected or destroyed, and this affects and also contributes to the forest cover loss in the country. Then we have the creation of illegal land titles is a very big issue for the authority. Although we are working with the Ministry of Lands to cancel some, but the process, the fact that they have been created, we spend a lot of money on the process of cancelling, which we would have spent on the restoration and other forestry activities. And then we also wonder why these are protected areas that are very well known. We believe that the process of creating a land title is very clear. People should go on ground and verify. The area land committees should know that this is a forest reserve, this is private land. But some people do not follow that, and we find there are actually most of the areas, urban areas, where we have forest reserve, they have created illegal land titles, and it's a serious battle for us to cancel them. Others we end up in court. That takes a very long time. By the time you're done, a trading center has been built up in the forest. So that is another battle to destroy it or find a way of how to live with it. Okay. So it's a very big challenge for us.
Wow, quite a number of them there. And do people even know how forests can help mitigate climate changes?
I think people know, But we are not assuming that they know. We are going ahead to educate and sensitize and create awareness about the importance of trees. You know, we are having a generation now that may not know, but this information is available. And we are moving out to try and tell people that if you do not protect the forests, even the agricultural yields will reduce. Because Uganda is a country that does not depend on technology, like irrigation. We are a country that is rain-fed. And this is the natural rain from heaven by God's grace. So if we destroy this environment, if we destroy these natural resources, then we are limiting the chance of having that rain. So if we do not have the rain, most people, I think last year, most people planted like around October, November, there were some rains, but people didn't know that they would stop, and we have that long drought period. So many people planted and lost their crops. So we are trying, and these things are related. The ecosystem it's a system, like I'm saying, it's a system that is interconnected. If you destroy the forest, then you're also destroying the energy sector. These dams we see, most of them are protected by the forest. Because if you're to see Karuma, if you're to see this one on Ginger Highway, they are covered by the forest. If you destroy these forests, actually there's even a partnership we have with the Electricity Regulatory Authority to restore the catchment areas for their source of energy. Then that means if you destroy the forest, you are affecting the energy source also. If you destroy the forest, you're also affecting the water cycle. Then we'll have scarcity of water. We've had in some areas we've had instances where people, the whole district or the whole sub-county can only find wells inside the forest reserves. Other wells outside have already dried because of the deforestation. So these people should learn, we are educating them how the system works of natural resources. And most of our Ugandans in the local communities or rural areas depend on the hubs. Actually, not only local, but even all of us. We saw it, when COVID came, it was a very clear indicator that we need these natural resources. COVID-X is entirely from the forest, and it helped a lot.
So even the steaming
yes, these hubs, we pick them from the forest and other natural resources, the shrubs and one. So that means you're also affecting the healthy sector. If you destroy the forest, you're affecting the tourism sector, which is number 3 earning for this country. Foreign earning, I think it's number 2 or number 3 foreign earning for this country. Because by destroying the forest, you're destroying the habitat for the wildlife.
Yes.
People don't come from the US to see our Kampala roads or our buildings here and there. They want to go in Mabira and see the monkeys. They want to go and see the lions and other wild animals. And these animals can only exist in the forests. And then the destruction of the forest has also increased human-wildlife conflicts. A few weeks back, we were seeing on Mubende Road where the chimps had come to the road and even caused an accident. This is because people have destroyed their home, which is Champisi Central Forest Reserve. The reserve is almost destroyed to zero. I think there's a small pocket of the forest that is remaining, but these chimps can no longer get the foods that they want in that area. So that's how they find themselves on the road. You've had instances where chimps have come to the communities and picked kids and killed them. So if we do not protect these areas, we are also increasing human-wildlife conflicts.
Wow. Quite a number of information given to us, and I hope you have managed to learn one or two things. And of course, you've seen the value of you protecting the environment. Time has really cut us short, and I'll request you, Juliet, to give us your parting shots as we wind up.
Thank you, Luke. And I take this opportunity on behalf of the National Forestry Authority to thank Family TV for hosting us this morning and airing out our message. and we believe this partnership is really taking us far. And then my message to the Ugandans and the globe is that let's protect the environment, and it protects us. The environment can live without us, but we cannot live without the environment. Let us not assume we are developed enough where we can afford ACs in our homes and the other services that we do not have in reality. So as we still depend on natural resources, let's protect them. Maybe because even those developed countries now are coming to pump money into the
conservation efforts,
developed countries so that they are able to cover their carbon footprint. So for us who still have those natural resources, let's protect them jealously.
Wow. Thank you so much, Juliet. Juliet is the Public Relations Officer at the National Forestry Authority. And I believe you have got information that you really required. I want to appreciate you for joining us this morning. Our time is really fast spent. We cannot go past this. I want to wish you a lovely day ahead. My name is Luke Majumba. Linaito, please stay safe.
If you suspect any suspicious thing, report to the police.
Of course, there will always be penalties for non-compliance.
So it's more of a ministry.
It is the duty of police to keep law and order.
Issues at hand.